Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful 9th of July, 2021, coming up the Crusty Canuck podcast, episode 140. Sauce for my pawns. Yes, Justin Trudeau's little campaign trail out here in Western Canada, and other notable politicians weighing in on the facts and figures of the recent events and other political BS. All that more coming up in the show. Please stick around.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me. Yes, sir. There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast, a Canadian veteran's point of view on political, social, economic issues and life. Here's Crusty.
And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck, and pardon the screen change there. Had some issues. Anyway, I'm your host, Crusty Canuck, and listener discretion is advised. I do tend to swear a bit, so please don't take it personally if you hear the odd F-bomb or two. Like I said, recent events, Justin Trudeau, Aaron O'Toole, and Jagmeet Singh are doing a little tour of Western Canada. Now, this is just a rant, this episode, basically, from what I've read in some of the mainstream media, National Post, Globe and Mail, Toronto Star, and what have you. You know, the Toronto Star, a beloved Red Star, rag that gets funded by the federal government every week. Now, Justin has been in Alberta, and I guess he's now in the interior BC, talking about some new green technology and $10 a day childcare and all that good stuff that was promised in the fiscal budget this past April. But we have yet to see any results of that. So obviously, we can assume that the top three leaders of our government that are running this country, that want a chance to run this government, what have you, are basically doing a campaign trail. One can assume that. Now, Justin hasn't said he might call an election. There's speculation that it'll happen in August, possibly September. We do not know. But I think he's been out here just to get a few more brownie points to say that he really, really cares about what's going on. And I think it's safe to assume that he's trying to win favor over his tarnished halo. Now, take a look at this picture, folks. Here's Justin kneeling on some unmarked grave, holding a little teddy bear, supporting his little orange, bring all the kids, what have you. Now, I'm not disenfranchising anybody who has heartfelt compassion over our history and what has happened and what has been revealed, per se. But let me tell you all this. There's still speculation on how many of these people were kids, how many of these people were First Nations, how many were settlers, how many were community members, what have you. And there's still a lot of speculation on what they died from. Could have been tuberculosis, could have been other diseases, could have been the flu, could have been diphtheria, anything, right? What were some of the big killers, let's say 100 years ago, when it came to the lifespan of a child? Okay. Now, in no way am I trying to justify what happened and taking sides here. The last thing we need is to take more bloody sides. What we need to do is to find the word truth. Okay. I'm a firm believer in the truth and reconciliation. A firm believer in that. But when I see a picture like this, what kind of truth is there, ladies and gentlemen? And I'll leave links to my description for my audio fans and all that too. But I think you get the drift here. Okay. A little marker here, a little light here. Just to remember. Now, are these graveyards community graveyards, First Nations graveyards? Were they brought to you by the church at the time? Was it the community at the time? We don't know. Okay. So whether you have wood gravestones or wood markers, whatever, they're going to rot, they're going to degrade over the years, what have you. It'd be easy to sit there and point the fingers at the church. As much as I disagree with Catholicism and everything thereof, we have to be factual. We have to be right. We have to be honest to find the truth of this. Now, that little campaign tactic that he pulled, winning hearts and minds, whatever. It's just, it's probably the first page of the campaign trick book, per se. Okay. And I, for one, I don't buy it. Not because I have issues with the Liberal Party of Canada, but the simple fact that they're the furthest thing from anything liberal this country has ever seen. Okay. they are the first party that wanted to put in C10, right? Which was abolished. Thankfully, the Senate didn't pass it. Okay, good. That's a good thing, right? But then C36, another hate speech mantra, reinstate Section 13 of the criminal code when it comes to hate speech, saying things hateful, right? And I think we've all seen that. And I'll leave links to C36 for my first-time listeners and viewers too, in regards to what C36 stands for. Basically, I'll summarize. It stands for a policy where if someone doesn't like what you're saying or what you're doing or what you're promoting or expressing, they can call and tell on you to the authorities. And you can either be sued for 20 grand or 50 grand, however it may be, all because someone's feelings might get hurt. All in the name of hate speech. How dare you say those things to me? I'm going to sue you. And it's still in the works, but they've amended it a few times now. So I'll leave some links to C36 for you kind people to follow too. But it's just, I don't know. I am constantly seeing the disingenuous reactions to things. Right. And I was talking to a friend of mine today, and we were actually talking about politics and what have you. And he was telling me that in 2015, he did vote for his Liberal candidate because of the mandate towards marijuana. Now, I've actually tried some of the government marijuana, ladies and gentlemen. I have tried government marijuana, and I have tried the so-called black market version. And you want to know something? The black market version tends to be a little more real. Better buzz, better body feeling and all that kind of stuff too, And I'm not sitting there saying spark one up and sit around all day and smoke dope. Be productive, do something. But it's a victimless crime to smoke a marijuana cigarette. Always has been, right? And I would say that's a good thing that the government's legalized it. But then again, the government can't get it right when it comes to making money about it too, right? It's the same thing with the Ontario and Quebec governments when it comes to monopolizing on liquor sales, Manitoba governments, what have you. Too much tax goes to liquor sales, or what they call the sin tax. So when it comes to being free and enjoying things in this country, just because the government sits there, licks it, and stamps it with their approval, that doesn't make it any better. And it sure as hell doesn't make it any cheaper either. But, you decide. You're the consumer. You got to figure it out.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And also, too, ladies and gentlemen, yes, in recent news, Jody Wilson-Raybould won't seek re-election due to the toxic environment of today's parliament. And I'll leave a link in the description about that. According to CBC, the way she has been treated by Ottawa and what she has seen, and not just as a Liberal cabinet member, but also as an independent member, because we all remember about a year ago how she was shuffled around and she wouldn't testify or wouldn't prosecute or persecute the members of the SNC Lavalin scandal, the whole thing about protecting 5,000 jobs while the federal Liberals have taken a lot of jobs from Alberta, that kind of thing, and how Justin chastised her and treated her like absolute garbage when it came to trying to find the truth, and when I look at Jody Wilson-Raybould's bio, she come from very, very humble beginnings, and I can honestly say she's probably the only Liberal politician today, like a traditional Liberal politician, that I have a lot of respect for. It's not because she's a woman or because she's First Nations. It's because she has scruples and morals and principles. She has the embodiment of leadership, regardless of what her degree is in or not. And she never, to me, come across as someone who kept pulling the race card out. Not like Anna May Paul or the gender card like Catherine McKenna or, Krista Freeland. She became a little more genuine. And so I would definitely give her a platform, regardless of what political fence she sits on. And because of that BS with SNC Lavalin, she had to leave the Liberal Party and still maintain her seat. And she actually got elected again for her riding. I should have more facts and figures here for you, ladies and gentlemen, but we all know who she is nationally. To my American listeners, First Nations attorney who got into politics, and she actually kicked a lot of ass and took names in her job. So she's a well credentialed human being as far as I'm concerned, regardless of her background and her origins, whatever. She stands for scruples and morals. So I got time for her. But like I say, I'll post links in the description for you, my listeners and fans that like to follow. But it gives you something to think about, right? Even Aaron O'Toole talking about the new green plan and understanding equalization, what have you. And Jagmeet Singh tooting the old card of, oh, when's Justin call the election? Do I get more or less get to keep my job? That's their mainstay, right? So what gets me too with this tour out west is that Justin Trudeau and his cronies discussing a rail line from Edmonton, Red Deer to Calgary. Okay. Now I've taken that trip before. And to me, that's not really a big jaunt per se. It's a nice drive. It's a scenic drive. I think it's probably one of the best drives in the country next to driving to Cross Canada Highway or the Trans Canada Highway. But what gets me is that when they're plugging this big green scheme thing, okay, yeah, they'll create jobs, temporary jobs to make this train, what have you. Okay. But how long is it going to last? So that's the thing. My idea of creating meaningful work, meaning something that's substantial, something that's built in something, i.e. our fossil fuels. So here I go again. Oh my God, Crusty, how dare you talk about oil sands? Why the F not? Why can't we talk about oil sands? Why can't we? It's one of Canada's biggest resources, one of Canada's biggest cash crops per se, next to canola and potash, right? Why can't we have oil? Because it's dirty. And of course, to the Russian elite, it's better to get dirty Saudi oil, human rights violations oil, and cheap oil rather than actually produce our own, right? So that's the thing. And like I said, this episode was just a rant and rave about this week's events. I'll have facts and figures in my description, what have you too. But there's also some rumblings going around too here in Alberta in regards to nurses' pay. Now, when I was a security guard, I got to know a few nurses. And I personally know the dedication and the loyalty and the compassion that nurses have. Okay. Now, like in a dynamic, we know there are people that go to work and they give 100%, some give 80%, some give 90%, and some just don't give a royal hoot. We've all been there, ladies and gentlemen. But when I look at the nurses in this province, especially in this province, okay, I have seen the utmost professionalism, dedication, and respect for our fellow man than in any other job other than looking after your buddies in combat, right? And when I look at what a nurse has to do when it comes to looking after the elderly, for example, making sure they're fed, making sure the meds are there, changing diapers, cleaning up urine, cleaning up fecal matter, puke, what have you. Understanding and seeing other bodily fluids that the average person can handle per se. But I can also see the dedication and the spirit in a lot of these nurses. And that's male and female alike, ladies and gentlemen. That's just not, your token nurse. That's everybody that I've seen. And I worked in a couple of hospitals when I was a security guard, and I would see that downright dedication and that respect they would give to their patients and the respect they'd give to the staff and the respect they just give to each other. And it's not a matter of doing the job because the money is good. It's a matter of doing the job because you give two craps about who you're working for and what you're doing. And there's an article in the Star that I'll post on my description there too. I'm not a big fan of the Star because they were the first ones to receive some good government money, but they wrote an interesting article on how Mr. Kenny out here wants to cut things again. Okay. And isn't that always the conservative dynamic, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to one previous government that did something stupid, and then next time a conservative government comes in, they'll put things back in order, but then they'll cut pay from things. Not so much the programs, but the pay. Now, I'll say this, leave nurses' pay alone. If you want to cut pay, you want to cut 3% or 4% or 0.25% of whatever projection you're pulling out of your ass here, I would say let's look at the administrators that have called the shots during this pandemic. Okay, let's look at all the bureaucrats and the health ministers and the so-called health know-it-alls, especially the ones that never practiced medicine for the better part of 10 years. Okay, let's cut their pay. Okay, how about they take a 3% cut? How about they take a 5% cut? And then you probably see a lot of happier faces and a little more common sense going around the bend here.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And that's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is episode 140 of the Crusty Canuck podcast. Sauce for our pawns, or sauce for the pawns, right? Like when the title card says, right? Dad told me about the schools and the churches involved that will get me the edge in the next election. So obviously he's playing the old, oh, I'm with you card. Of course, and it's all about Justin and the Quebec conglomerates and UN and China CCP, his backers, Saudi oil and his bill C10 and C36. And of course, to him, Canadians matter not. And of course, his butt buddy, Gerald Butts, sitting there. Yes, it's understandable why churches burn. Now, I'm going to talk again about how these churches are being burnt. We're finding more and more every day now, okay, of people getting together and burning churches for what? Okay. See, I can understand the outrage and the sheer anger towards the Catholic Church when it came to how some priests and bishops were caught molesting little boys. And especially more so now, a lot of the priests and bishops and nuns that were hurting children. First Nations and white children alike, folks. But that doesn't prompt me to go out and burn every church that I see. That doesn't prompt me to go out and throw bricks through stained glass windows, or any windows for that matter, too. Now, what I don't understand, and I think I've mentioned this before in my last episode, folks, is that these churches are burning in retaliation to what was found on certain graveyards in certain areas, okay? And I wish that they gave us more insight in high school when we took our history classes in regards to the residential schooling. What was the mandate? What were they trying to prove? What were they doing? You know, that's how you understand history. You sit and you dissect the past pages and you look at every little detail to the best of your ability, and you formulate your own opinion thereafter after you learn something about it. But there's a lot of people there jumping the gun. Okay. I'm guilty of that too. My friends and my fans are like, I'm guilty of that as well. I'm guilty of jumping the gun and assuming that every church had something to do with it. Now, there's no doubt in my mind that they have. There's no doubt in my mind that provincial governments of said time had a lot to do with it too, as well as whatever federal ministers that were sitting on their high horses at that time, you know, doing the same thing. And we can sit there and keep blaming John MacDonald and keep blaming Wilfrid Laurier and Sir Robert Borden and Mackenzie King over and over and over and over again. Oh my God. Okay. But we tend to forget to how much influence that not only the Catholic Church had, but the Anglican, Presbyterian, United churches had too. And of course, the Church of England. Okay. So as my Facebook friend Harley Monroe likes to say, facts don't matter. Or correction, your feelings don't matter. My mistake. The facts matter. The feelings don't matter. So you can be outraged and fucking screaming to the heavens all you want. Pardon the F-bomb there, folks. But we got to find the truth. Is that not the reason for truth and reconciliation? Let's find the truth. Okay. Let's dig up these graves. Let's find out what happened. We have enough technology right now that can find a fart in space, apparently. If we can put satellites into space to watch our every move every time we go to the pool or put a drone up in the sky or pick our nose and scream at the government, I'm sure we can find out what is left in human remains to find out what happened to people. Okay. Like I say again, I'm in no way trying to justify what happened to those poor people, whether they were small kids, First Nations, didn't matter if they're white, First Nations, didn't matter if they're black or Chinese. We have to find the truth. Exactly. I'm a firm believer in truth and reconciliation, and we have to find the truth to what it really is. Okay. And in no way I'm trying to justify anything that these politicians did or what the churches did. But burning down churches, burning down places of worship isn't going to help. Okay. Now let's say the tables are turned. Okay. What would our mainstream politicians be saying if someone kept burning down mosques or synagogues or Sikh temples or Buddhist temples, right? Or Jehovah's Witnesses temples or Mormon temples? What would happen then? A hate crime's a hate crime, folks. Now, do they have a federal task force trying to find who's responsible for these issues? No. We've had First Nation elders and leaders alike stand up and condone the burning of churches, and yet they're still going on. Why? Right? Did somebody from the Vatican send somebody over to Canada to set fire to the churches to hide the records, maybe? Right? Is it some Antifa freak, Antifa douchebag who thinks that he or she is standing up for solidarity by destroying property? Is it a member of the First Nations that are burning these churches down in the name of the memory and the honor of the fallen? Right? We don't know. We're not hearing that story. Those stories aren't coming out. I'm sure if I dug deeper, I could find some truth to that. Right? But we, as listeners and podcast viewers and people that like to be entertained and get a lot of our information from the internet, we want to find out the truth. So wouldn't that be part of the truth and reconciliation to tell us what the F is going on? Right? Why not? Why not? We can constantly see politicians scream and yell and kick and stomp their feet and have more clowns like this kneel and pretend they really care and worry about clowns like this, worry about how much people are going to miss her because she's not taking a federal politics again. She's getting out of it.
Where's the money, Catherine?
So that's the thing. Right? There's also another story out there too that they're not going to let the MPs investigate where all this money is going for the infrastructure. So this clown here, she gets off scot-free while she retires, come the fall, or maybe even now. Last I heard, she's leaving politics. I did an episode on that too. But it makes you think, right? It makes you think what's going on. So we're going to have to really, really work our asses off to find the truth come this August if they do call an election. Okay? We're going to have to work that much harder. We're going to have to really work and try to find the truth. And regardless of what qualifications these so-called leaders have, how many of them have promoted common sense? How many of them have tried to promote longevity and economic common sense? I can think of maybe two. Pierre Poilievre standing in the House of Commons, stating his cases very well, very professional. I may disagree with his choice of party, but in the same sense, we're seeing a little more integrity coming from some, which is good, I would say, but we need more. We need more integrity from these guys, and we need more people like you and me.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And that's right, ladies and gentlemen, too. Please check out my shop at Crusty Canuck Gear Shop at www.customizedgirl.com/S/Crusty Canuck. Use the code ZZSS and get yourself 10% off of all Crusty Canuck swagger. That's t-shirts, hats, mugs, swimsuits. I've also got some drinking flasks, stickers, and buttons. So please check out the Crusty Canuck shop. Link will be in the description. Use code ZZSS or ZZSS for my other North American listeners out there too. Get yourself 10% off. Get it today. Offer will be valid till the 31st of July of this year. So please check it out. Like I say again, use the code ZZSS. Get yourself 10% off of Crusty Canuck gear as we speak. And we're carrying on again, more of the whole, sauce for my pawns. And that's the way, I don't know how to explain it other than present more facts and figures in my description. But look at the way they have talked to us this past year. Okay. Now, Mr. Kenny went back in his word here in Alberta. A lot of people pissed off them, rightfully so. But then again, Rachel Notley, she's no better either, too. She likes to socialize everything and play her drum circle, smoke her government weed, and pretend she's one with the people. Right? And we got our friend Doug Ford in Ontario, who's still promoting the lockdowns with a hammer and nail and cheesecake, right? What's he doing? And Quebec is definitely want to promote this passport issue. Right? Digitalize all your information on your cell phone to prove that you got your 2 shots so you can go about freely in La Belle Provence to have your drink and watch your hockey and whatever. What a joke. Okay. Now it's getting ridiculous. Now we have this summer is upon us. More freedoms. People are going to the beaches and socializing and drinking, what have you. Like My wife took me out to dinner last night, so I celebrated a birthday there. And it was nice just to go out and have a drink and have a nice meal. It was. It wasn't devastating. It wasn't too hot outside. It was nice. It was nice to walk around without masks on my face, too. It was nice to really stand and go, it was good. And the atmosphere was good, too. There's a few people in the restaurant, a few acquaintances. Hey, how you doing? How's that going? And we just sat and enjoyed our meal. And I realized how grateful I am to have someone in my life like my wife that has put up with so much garbage, especially during this past year and a half with the COVID issue, with my issues, with issues in general. And I'm very grateful that she took me out. So, baby, if you're listening, you're my number one. Anyhow, without getting sentimental, carrying on again with, sauce for the ponds. So he's saucing us up, ladies and gentlemen. Basically, that's what it is. All of these government guys are saucing us up for what? Right? Who's going to be their man for the next election? And I'll leave some facts and figures from the so-called pollsters who say, the Liberals will win because there's comfort and they will get all this because they put this to get program together. Right? So I'm going to remind my Ontario and Quebec listeners out there. Okay. Do you want leadership to govern you? Or do you want leadership to leave you alone? Think about it. Okay. The CERB and CEBA payments came out to help people that needed it. And rightfully so. There were people that lost their jobs, people that couldn't go to work. There were businesses that just went tits up like that because of all these pandemic rules and regulations. More the bureaucrats getting the pay raises to tell you what to think, what to do, where to walk, where to wipe, all that good stuff. But now there's a bunch of people that have relied on that look forward to it, that enjoy it. Why? Okay. Well, I don't have to work anymore. I'm getting $2,000 a month here or $1,200 here. I don't need this. Where does that $1,200 or $2,000 come from? When it's not coming from the taxpayer, then it's magically bought and paid for with interest given to your government so the government can give to you. Yet there's no products coming in or out. Oil markets have been compromised. Lumber markets are compromised. Our agriculture markets have been compromised. And yet back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And that leads to hyperinflation. And then what? That $2,000 becomes worthless because it has no meaning. Nothing coming in, nothing coming out. But they'll keep printing it, right? And give it to you. So when it comes to an election this August, if they do call an election, by law, we got 2 months to prepare for it. Think about it now up until election day. How is this going to benefit you in the long run? Okay. So let's say the Liberals get their majority government. And then what? Is C-36 going to go through? Are they going to try to revitalize C-10 to tell you what to see, what to wear, what to watch, what to think when you're online here, watching my podcast or my friends' podcasts or other podcasts from around the world? Right? C-36, you come out and you type something terrible or something insensitive to someone, and then you get sued. Is that good governance? Is that great leadership? Oh, but that doesn't matter though, because you'll be getting your $2,000 a month, which comes off the backs of people like myself, my wife, my parents. They still technically work. Okay. My sisters, my friends, and their two friends, and so on and so on. So whoever's generating the taxable income gets screwed. So you can have your $2,000 a month if you become reliant on it. Okay. Now, I'm not saying those people who needed it, take it away again. But if you're becoming reliant on it because you're afraid to go out and work in the world, afraid to go out and thrive yourself, to have an ample job, to do something. And if that means you have to sling coffee for 40 hours a week and flip burgers for another 30 hours a week, so be it. I've done that. Before I joined the military, I was working 2 jobs and paying rent and paying my way. And if I wanted extra money, I had to work a few extra hours. So I do 35 hours at Loblaws and probably about 25 to 30 hours at a restaurant. So I was pulling in 60 hours a week, plus that, and go to school, right? And when I actually joined the army, I still had a couple of $1,000 in the bank. So all that work did pay off. But I think you get my point. Okay. So you want to become reliant on these programs and do all these wonderful things at whose expense? So all the more reasons to tell the government come August, if they call an election, to vote for the better party and the better people. And I highly suggest that you vote for people that really give a shit and people that want to represent you.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
That's what it comes down to. People representing you. As I say again, too, please check out my shop, ladies and gentlemen. Code ZZSS to get yourself 10% off your purchase at customizedgirl.com. Crusty Canuck. I got t-shirts. I got hats. I've got mugs. I've got little drinking flasks, stickers, swimsuits for the ladies, tank tops, you name it. Check it out. Get yourself some Crusty Canuck swagger today. Valid is offered until the 31st of July of this year. So please check out my store if you can. Anyway, carrying on again, too. People that are going to represent you, regardless of all the racial tripe that has been rammed down our throats this year, regardless of all the racial bigotry that has presented by bigots. And I will call Yagmeet Singh a bigot, and I'll call Justin Trudeau a bigot, and I might even call Aaron O'Toole a bigot, too, because I'm a little disappointed in him not weighing in enough in regards to this monstrosity of division they promoted. Okay? And I'll also call on the bigots that spent more time worrying about tearing down a statue than actually trying to help people heal. Okay. And that's all shapes and sizes, all colors and creeds too. Okay. It's that simple, folks. As much as I disagree with the monarchy, I don't believe in destroying the statue. That's not going to bring anybody back. That's not going to help. Setting fire to a church, that's not going to help anybody. How is it? How is it? How is that going to make your life easier? And yet, sometimes when you talk to these individuals and you try to find common ground, this is basically the response you get.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I have an infection in my ear. Oh.
Pretty self-explanatory. It's a ho, no, I'm right and you're wrong. You're the oppressor. You're the colonizer. I've been called that the other day, actually. That was quite amusing. Colonizer. Now, the flag behind me, you see there, Union Jack, because I have affiliation with Britain. And the other flag behind me is the maple leaf, the country I fought for. Okay. Now, technically speaking, I think there's some official documents that proves that Canada is still somewhat a colony of Great Britain, but we call ourselves the Commonwealth. Okay. Now, I'm not a colonist. Neither were my parents. Neither were my grandparents. My grandparents grew up through the Great Depression. They didn't have CERB or CEBA or great payments or government programs to look after their sorry selves. They used their own initiative. They used a community. They watched others' backs by dedication and hard work and the will to survive through those trying times. So when someone calls me a colonist, you better fucking back it up. And if you say it because I'm white, then who's the racist? Think about that. Who's the racist then? When we start judging people based on their category, you're no better than the shitheads of yesteryear who wanted to segregate everybody, who wanted to put people in their categories, who wanted to separate men from women and First Nations kids from white kids to black kids, from Catholics to Anglicans, from Jews to Gentiles, from Muslims to non-Muslims. Think about that. So the next time you point a finger at somebody and say, you're a colonist, am I? I've only been to Britain maybe once, and that was in layover in Scotland. We're there about maybe, I think, an hour and a half, 40 minutes. That's the only ties I really have to Britain, ladies and gentlemen. And as much as I'd love to go to London and watch Arsenal play and have a few pints in a proper pub and maybe take my wife on a tour of the Coronation Street set, I'm not British. I'm a Canadian. Okay. Like I say, sauce for the pawns, ladies and gentlemen. Everything that's been promoted this week in mainstream media has been sauce for us pawns. Right? Oh, I'm here to look at these graves. Oh, I'm here and I really relate. Oh, I'm here to make sure that everything's fine and dandy and we're going to promote this childcare. Even Mr. Horgan said, when are you going to send the check? Right? Mr. Horgan, the BC Premier, when are you going to send the check? And that's on CTV News too. Priceless, isn't it? Yeah. See, that's where we need men like Ellis Ross to get back into power and to get things going. And that's where we need men like Aaron Gunn, that reporter. I've used some of his work as references on the show here, right? And regardless, like I say, regardless of what brand they want to get into, they want to get back into common sense politics. And that's good. We need more common sense. We need more blue collar, uprooted people of all colors and creeds, people that have actually gone through something and seen something and done something, rather than just sit in a classroom and have some professor tell them the meaning of life based on feelings and basket weaving. Oh my.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And as I say again, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of this is just a stepping stone to an election they will call. Now, I'm pretty sure Justin and his cronies, and they'll all speculate, oh, we're not going to call an election just yet. And they'll probably do it maybe at the beginning of August, right? Or after the civic holiday in August. So we'll think about that. To my American listeners out there, it's a real shit show up here when it comes to it. And I highly encourage, especially my American listeners and viewers too, to really look at all the facts, not just from Fox News or from ABC or CNN. Look at some Canadian stations too. Okay. City TV is doing some stories on that. And check out the Rebel as well. Rebel Media has done some good reporting on these catastrophes and getting insight from all parties, not just one group of people or two groups of people, but all people that are involved. So I suggest you check that out too. And like I say, ladies and gentlemen, please check out my shop, code ZZSS or ZZSS, and get yourself 10% off Crusty Canuck swagger today. We got hats, t-shirts, shorts, swimsuits, tank tops, mugs, all that good stuff. So just click the link once you hit the description there, and you'll find all that good Crusty Canuck swagger. And just don't forget to use that code. Save yourself 10% when you buy something. Plus, you're also helping out the podcast too, so consider that as well. And if you like and hear what you see, please click like, share, and subscribe all over the place too, if you can, just in case they do want to censor everything. And if you do like and hear what you see, please check me out on Supercast as well. Supercast, look at the link at the bottom there. Supercast Tech, censorship free, $5 a month gets you all of my episodes, all of my audio episodes, censorship free, hopefully. Knock on wood, in case they want to censor that too. But it's a Canadian-based company held by Canadian podcasters such as myself. So please keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. $5 a month gets you all of my episodes. And please, if you feel like donating, please think about donating too. I like to make this a full-time commitment, and it takes my wonderful audience such as yourselves and viewers yourself to make that happen. So please consider that. I'm about 8,000 plus subscribers on my YouTube channel. So if I had half my subscribers give me $1 every time I did a show, or $1 a month, wow, I'd be on my way to some fantastic work. So please consider donating today if you can too. And if you want to reach me, please reach me at crustybcanuck67@gmail.com. The offer is still open out there to some people that I've reached out to. If you want to talk, if you feel like you're not getting ahead and you want someone to talk to, please send me an email. Let me know, because Crusty cares. I really do, honestly. And too, ladies and gentlemen, take a moment of your time too. Children's Coalition Party of Canada, an up-and-coming party. We basically stand for truth, honor, and integrity. So check that out. The links will be in the description as well. It's a party founded by veterans, not just for veterans. It's for all Canadians. It's veteran-based, but we have first responders. We have some ex-lawyers, some ex-conservatives, ex-liberals, ex-NDPers involved in this party. So please take a look at the Veterans Coalition Party today. You'll see the link in the description as well. Anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, I have been Crusty Canuck on this beautiful 9th of July, 2021. Thank you, everybody who came out last night and gave me some really, really warm birthday greetings. Thank you very much. And because of my new schedule and everything, the Sunday fastball, or fastball Sunday, will be a go this Sunday, of course. So not every bi-weekly or every 3 weeks. I'll be putting it back on a weekly format too. And I want to introduce Miss L. Sophia Rossetti. She will be a panelist on the show, so please look into that. I'll leave a link in the description to her work as well. I've been on her show a couple of times. A real, genuine human being, ladies and gentlemen, and I think she'll be a great asset to the Fastball Sunday team and family. So pay attention to my community page on YouTube and Facebook for updates on that as well. And hopefully we'll see you there too. I'm still working on another Thursday show. I don't know if I'll call it the Fastball or not, but just, bear with me. Getting into that as best as I can with the resources I do have. But please pay attention to my YouTube page and Facebook page for updates on that as well. And I want to say a special thank you out there to everyone who came out to the last Sunday show. Thank you very much. And just to remind you, all my listeners and viewers out there, I am very, very grateful for the overwhelming support that you've all given me, especially in this past couple of months. When I was working and getting things done, I've had some great emails, some great thumbs up, some great comments, and I've had some people weigh in and give me their hate mail too. How can I be so insensitive? But I'm going to mention you guys too. So you just keep fueling the fire, folks, and that's the thing. But to all my subscribers and fans out there, give yourself a pat on the back, and thanks for coming out and supporting me throughout this journey. Like I said, it's episode 140. 140 episodes I've made so far under the Crusty Canuck banner. And I have all of you, my audience out there, to thank for it. You're what drives the spirit. You're what drives the show. And like I say, thank you very much for tuning in and subscribing and commenting. Please keep doing the same. Share it all around. Subscribe, like, all that good stuff. Click the notification bell when something comes up. Therefore, you'll be notified. All that good stuff too. And you can also find me on Brighteon, and you can find me on Rumble as well. I have a Rumble account too. And I'm working on tweaking my Odyssey account and my Gab account too. I'm having some issues there, but please follow me there as well. But like I say, ladies and gentlemen, I've been Crusty Canuck on this beautiful 9th of July, 2021. I did full paw there. And like I always say, let's do what we can. We can find light in this manufactured darkness, regardless of how things are working out or not. But we will prevail. West is best. Democracy is good. And we all deserve to thrive. We all deserve the opportunity to go out and explore education, work, love, however you want to. And I'm not going to dwell too much in the political sense of loving right now. Too much going on. But to my homosexual audience out there, there's nothing against you. Nobody hates you. I don't hate you. I love yous all. I love all my friends and family. And I have some very good people in my life that just happen to be gay, that are down to right, decent human beings. And I love you guys too. Okay. So don't ever think that Crusty Canuck hates anyone. Okay. I just hate bullshit. Like I say, ladies and gentlemen, 9th of July, 2021. I've been Crusty Canuck. Stay tuned for updates. And this Sunday, we'll have the fastball as per. Like I say, look after your friends and loved ones. Do what you can to help each other out these best you can these trying times. And remember, humanity and merit wins the day. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me. Yes, sir. There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
This has been another episode of the Crusty Canuck podcast. Stay sane, and thank you for listening. From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast.
Mama always said I had a face for radio.